Who told you that?
Aldrich's gaze was icy, and his voice dangerous. He made his demand from across the grand table, the one we had shared so many intimate dinners at, but the sudden tension in the air made me feel threatened. But I wasn't about to betray my ladies-in-waiting. Everyone is talking about this woman you brought back to the palace, from the footman to the gardeners. Evidently, you didn't bother to take much care in hiding the event, or your scandalous reaction to it. Aldrich wasn't listening. Instead, his face continued to darken.
It was Eliza, wasn't it? Or Laura. She's always been impertinent.
It doesn't matter who told me, Aldrich. I'm asking you if it's true. Instead of answering, the king glared at me, then placed another bite of steak into his mouth and chewed slowly, deliberately, the muscles of his jaw working forcefully. I realized that he was buying himself time. When Aldrich finally answered, his words were cool and carefully calibrated.
I'm not sure what you heard, but I hardly believe it's worth all this interest. I found a woman who was badly hurt, and I helped her,
he said, reaching for his goblet of crimson wine. On the surface, my husband's response seemed rational enough. Still, I couldn't help but notice that he had called her a woman, and that his cheeks pinked when he said the word. Was that guilt? Or desire? And where is she now? I couldn't help but ask. I knew I was pushing, but I had to know.
Bronwyn, we share meals with just the two of us so rarely. Surely we have other, more important matters to discuss. Wouldn't you agree?
The iciness in his voice made it clear that this was the end of this particular conversation, though I doubted he'd be eager to discuss anything further with me for the rest of the night. But even still, I continued to push. I couldn't seem to help myself. Aldrich, I did not suggest anything unusual. As the caretaker of the Imperial Palace, I'm only asking about the goings-on within these walls. But you are the one who is making me concerned. Is there something going on that I should know about? I kept my tone gentle, a smile on my lips. I still wanted to appear casual, unconcerned. Aldrich, however, shifted uneasily in his seat.
She got caught in one of the traps, Bronwyn. I felt bad about the situation, so I brought her here to be treated. I've had her put in a room with a maid to look after her and ensure a complete recovery.
I see. There was no denying it. Aldrich was being protective over this woman. After taking another drink of wine, he continued, his voice gruff.
I can assure you, she won't be a bother to you. I won't call on your ladies-in-waiting again. Now, I'd like to please change the subject, if you don't mind.
But I folded my arms across my chest and refused to agree. Aldrich noticed my tiny rebellion. Irritated, he returned to his steak, but after a few ineffectual slices with the knife, he dropped the utensils on the table with a... pushed himself out of his seat and stormed out of the room. So, what did His Majesty say? When I returned to the West Palace after dinner, I found my ladies anxiously waiting for me in my chambers. I wasn't obliged to tell them anything, but I was desperate for a confidant. To be honest, he didn't say much, but that was the problem. My ladies exchanged a series of meaningful glances with one another, each making their own assumptions, but each afraid to speak. As usual, it was Lady Eliza who came to my side. If you truly said nothing, Your Highness, then why are you so upset? I'm not upset, I said hastily. Too hastily. My ladies-in-waiting gave me a look that indicated they could read me better than that, and I had better tell them what was really going on. I sighed, exhausted by the entire unpleasant turn of events. I had to drag even the tiniest scraps of truth from him, and in the end Aldrich only told me what I already knew, that there was a woman who'd been caught in one of the gamekeeper's traps, and he felt bad and has decided to take care of her. Lady Laura looked at me sternly, aware that I was holding something back. And? What else? I let out a long sigh. There was one thing that left me uneasy. He failed to mention to me that she was a runaway slave, and when he called her a woman, My ladies-in-waiting exchanged another look, as if this seemed to prove something to them. One of the ladies, Viscountess Verdi, raised an arched eyebrow. What? What did he do, my lady? The look on his face. I know it well. He desires her. I knew I should stop talking, stop feeding the gossip mongers, but at the same time it felt good to speak freely, to confide in women who I knew were loyal to me. How did you leave it, your majesty? We solved nothing. He stormed out. Lady Laura stamped her delicate little foot in frustration. A few other more genteel ladies glanced at her judgmentally, but Laura was never one to behave as others wanted her to. Your majesty, pardon me for saying so, but you can't allow that tramp to come between you and the king. How dare he treat you so? Laura! Lady Penelope scolded, but I noticed she did not deny or contradict Laura's words. I tried to remain calm and collected, but I must have winced outwardly, because Countess Eliza came up behind me and began to stroke my shoulders gently. Sensing my pain, she motioned for the other ladies to leave the room. As they scurried to the outer rooms of my chambers, Eliza began to brush my hair with a pearl-laden comb, something she knew always soothed me. I'm fine, Eliza, really. I tried to assure her, but my voice still trembled. My mother always told me that Aldrich might take another woman as his lover, and warned me not to let myself be hurt. The fate of the kingdom depends on it. After all, this is a common practice with kings, and it isn't really a surprise, given that ours was an arranged marriage. But we... Oh, Eliza, how could he do this to me? He may be allowed to take the slave girl in, but you're also allowed to be sad, my queen. I thought about her words for a moment, before realizing something. I'm not sad. I'm angry. Countess Eliza nodded as she gently folded my hair into a braid, though it was unclear if she believed me or not. No matter what, she offered, trying to reassure me. Even if this woman becomes his concubine, she can't enter high society, my lady. You're safe there. What do you mean? Runaway slaves are considered to be escaped prisoners, and therefore cannot rise within society's ranks, or even be seen amongst us. So put her out of your mind, your highness, because no matter how much the king lavishes the woman, and he'll soon tire of her, all men do, you'll never need to speak to her, see her, or even think about her. I did my best to smile at the countess. You're right. The woman doesn't matter at all. She's nothing. But nothing was creating an awful lot of turmoil in my once peaceful palace, as my husband began to spend more and more time with the slave girl whom he'd caught in his trap. The rumors swirled faster and faster around the estate, whispered behind rose bushes, and floating along the elegant corridors.
Does the king really go to see the slave every day?
I heard it sometimes multiple times a day.
What does he do in there with her? What doesn't he do in there with her? She's a concubine, after all.
I heard the king has his eye on her to produce his heir.
I heard he won't talk to the queen about the woman at all, that he barely looks at her anymore.
I heard the queen is heartbroken. She's been crying every night. Queen isn't crying, she's plotting. I heard that she's so jealous that she's planning on murdering the girl.
I have it on good authority that she's sent her most trusted ladies-in-waiting to forage for poisonous mushrooms to slip into the concubines' meals.
To address the rumors would be to give them air, so I simply tried to ignore them, to keep smiling, to do my part in running the empire. But eventually, I couldn't take it anymore, and I often ran to the most secluded part of the palace gardens so that I could cry until my heart broke. Every winter solstice, I gathered all of the most prominent lords and officials to the palace to discuss preparations for the upcoming year. This was a significant event, for which I always prepared greatly. But this year, I felt it was more important than ever to present an air of confidence and calm, given the swirl of rumours surrounding my personal life. I had dressed in my favourite green velvet gown, the one with a long row of tiny pearl buttons down the back, and I had my ladies coil my hair down my back in a thick, plaited braid. They had even woven flowers into the braid, a winter tradition that symbolises new life and fresh beginnings. Considering Aldrich's recent behaviour, I relished the thought of a fresh start. The morning had been filled with diplomatic meetings and a barrage of thinly veiled questions about my marriage. I needed a break, or else I thought I would scream. Tapping Sir Artemis, the deputy commander of the knights and my loyal bodyguard, on the shoulder, I whispered that I needed a moment in the gardens. He nodded his understanding, and out we went. The gardens were expansive, and admired throughout the realm well before I had married the king, but I had taken special care to nurture them even further. Now, even in winter, the verdant paths blossomed with exotic trees and rare flowers, such as snowdrops and winterberries, and had come to be known as the jewel of the imperial palace. Artemis, I began as we rounded the hedge of white roses. Which of your men do you recommend to supervise the winter solstice ball? But before the knight could respond, he froze. Artemis, what is it? He placed a silent finger to his lips, instructing me to be quiet. He had heard something. My heart turned to ice as I watched the knight's gloved hand move to the hilt of his sword. Could it be thieves? My mind raced. Assassins. Carefully guiding me behind him, Artemis placed himself between me and whatever danger lay beyond the thick hedges of roses. I could see nothing, and I strained to hear what had startled the warrior. What is it? I whispered, but before the knight could answer, I saw his cheeks pinking from embarrassment. Confused, I strained even further to listen. That was when the sounds came to me more clearly. A soft moan, whispered nothings, and heavy breathing. Now my cheeks pinked at the unmistakable sound of lovemaking. Though the threat to life and limb may have passed, Artemis was not best pleased to have my honour so sullied. He stepped forward, his voice booming in the frosty air.
Out of there this instant! These are the Queen's sacred gardens, and I'll not have you defiling them in her presence.
A muffled squeak and groan of frustration followed his orders, followed by a panicked rustling of clothes from behind the hedge.
Show yourselves!
One of them dashed off and away from us, but the other, the woman, stepped out to face us. As my steely green eyes connected with the woman's, which I noticed were the beautiful, deep blue of a glittering lake on a winter's day, I realized that this could be her. Then I saw the bandage on her leg. It was her. This was my husband's concubine. For a moment, I stood there, frozen to the spot as a cold dread washed over me. All of the rumors had been true. With her soft, heart-shaped face, light, wavy hair, and full, supple pink lips, my husband's concubine was without a doubt the most stunning woman I had ever laid eyes on. I knew then that she was going to bring ruin to my life and to my empire.
See that button on screen? That's your full story. Tap it and download the Pocket FM app now for free.